Imagine a city that began as a small village on the banks of the Tiber River and became the heart of an empire that dominated millions of square miles. Ancient Rome was not only a center of military power, it was a sophisticated economic machine, able to sustain legions, build grandiose monuments, and feed entire populations for centuries. But how exactly did Rome generate wealth to keep all this going for so long? Historians point out that the basis of this success was in a complex system of collection, trade, and management of resources, carefully adapted to the vast territory that the empire controlled. In this video, we will explore in a clear and educational way how Rome earned money and why this economic model managed to stay stable for so long, highlighting one of the most important pillars of classical civilization. To understand this system, we need to go back to the beginning. Rome arose around the 8th century BC as an essentially agrarian community. During its early centuries, its economy revolved around local agriculture and regional trade. However, this scenario has changed drastically with the territorial expansion. From the Punic Wars in the 3rd century BC, Rome came to control areas far beyond the Italian peninsula, incorporating regions such as Hispania, Gaul, Greece, and territories of North Africa and the Middle East. This expansion was not only military, it brought a huge administrative challenge. Sustaining armies, integrating diverse populations, and maintaining order required an organized and predictable economy. Without a functional economic structure, the empire would run the risk of collapsing under the very weight of its expansion. It was in this context that Rome began to develop administrative mechanisms capable of raising resources, stimulating trade, and redistributing wealth on an imperial scale. One of the main pillars of the Roman economy was tax collection. Historians note that, for its time, Rome created a relatively efficient and flexible system. The provinces were administered by appointed governors, responsible for overseeing the collection of taxes and maintaining local stability. Taxes varied according to the region and its economic vocation. In Egypt, for example, one of the most fertile areas of the empire, tribute was often paid in grains, especially wheat, which supplied Rome and its legions. In regions of Asia Minor, where the monetary economy was more developed, cash taxes were more common. The collection was often carried out by publicanos, private collectors who awarded contracts to the state. This model guaranteed a minimum revenue to the Roman government and encouraged efficiency, although it could also generate excesses. To deal with these problems, emperors like Augustus promoted administrative reforms, including regular censuses to assess populations and wealth, adjusting taxation in a more balanced way. This combination of decentralization with central supervision allowed Rome to extract resources without completely disorganizing the local economies. But taxes alone do not explain all the Roman wealth. Another key element was trade. The Mediterranean, known by the Romans as Mare Nostrum, functioned as a large network of economic circulation. Ships carried olive oil, wine, metals, fabrics, and spices between the various regions of the empire. Roman naval rule significantly reduced piracy, making routes safer and more predictable. Roads such as the Appian Way connected cities, ports, and markets, making it easier to transport goods by land. Strategic ports, such as Ostia, near Rome, acted as essential logistics centers. The state collected through customs duties, known as portoria, levied on imported and exported goods. These rates, added to the intense trade volume, represented a constant source of revenue. In addition, local and regional markets moved urban and rural economies, stimulating large-scale production and consumption. Agriculture continued to be the foundation of the Roman economy. Provinces such as Sicily and North Africa produced large quantities of wheat, essential to feed the urban population of Rome, which reached over 1 million inhabitants. Mining also played an important role. Regions such as Hispania, Dacia, and Britannia provided gold, silver, and other essential metals for minting coins. These activities used a combination of slave labor and free workers, according to the common practices of the time. In addition, each province tended to specialize in certain products. Gaul was known for the production of wine and pottery, Egypt, papyrus and flax, other regions, animal husbandry or extraction of natural resources. This specialization allowed the empire to diversify its sources of revenue and reduce dependence on a single sector. By integrating these regional economies through trade and administration, Rome transformed conquered territories into productive parts of a larger system. Another essential aspect of Roman success was investment in infrastructure. Roads, aqueducts, and cities were not only monumental works, they were economic tools. The extensive network of Roman roads, with tens of thousands of kilometers, reduced the time of transport of goods and facilitated the movement of troops and administrators. Aqueducts ensured water supply to large urban centers, supporting larger populations and productive activities. Provincial cities, often planned according to Roman models, became commercial and administrative centers. These investments, financed by taxes, returned in the form of higher productivity, more intense trade, and more efficient collection. Why this system worked for centuries? One of the main reasons for the longevity of this economic model was its flexibility. Rome adapted its policies to local realities, adjusting taxes in times of crisis or poor harvests. This ability to adapt helped prevent widespread collapses. Monetary standardization also played a crucial role. Currencies such as denarius and gold facilitated transactions throughout the empire, creating economic confidence for generations even in the face of challenges like inflation and monetary reforms. During deeper crises, such as in the 3rd century AD, administrative reforms were implemented. Emperors like Diocletian reorganized the empire into smaller units, seeking greater fiscal and administrative efficiency. It is important to recognize that the system had limitations. Excessive dependence on certain labor models, administrative corruption, and fiscal overload in some regions contributed to instabilities. Still, the system as a whole has shown remarkable resilience over several centuries. In short, the Roman economy was a carefully integrated mosaic of provincial taxes, Mediterranean trade, exploitation of regional resources, and investment in infrastructure. These elements formed one of the pillars of classical civilization, allowing Rome to sustain a vast and diverse empire in an organized and adaptable way. It was not a perfect model, but for its time it represented one of the most advanced economic experiences in the ancient world. By transforming military achievements into lasting productive structures, Rome built an economic base that deeply marked history. If you liked this analysis on the economy of ancient Rome, watch the video to support historical educational content. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on classical civilizations and ancient economics. And in the comments, say, what other aspect of the Roman world would you like to see explored in an upcoming video? Thank you for watching.